Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben and this is my team into round 10. I've been holding off a little bit because I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. It's a tough week and I know who I want to get, but it's more about just trying to get the logistics right and whether I kind of go with my heart or whether I try and use my head a little bit. So that's where I'm kind of at. Which leads us into our socials, SC Insider 100. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Also, our audio platforms as well, so Spotify, Soundcloud, Stitcher, you name it. And on YouTube, obviously, please do like, subscribe, give us the support that we deserve. We've been in this now for, I think this is our 5th year, so let's get some love and keep that support continuing. Obviously, you can see Chris and Swizz have already posted up their teams as well, so get out there, share the love. Today, obviously, brought to you by Manscaped, so proudly supported by Manscaped. They are supporting us extremely well. Manscaped is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Over 4 million men worldwide trust Manscaped, and this is an exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping, SC Insider 100. Go to manscaped.com. Get amongst it there. So we received the Performance Package 4.0, their 4th generation trimmer, their weedy whacker, their lawnmower 4.0. So take care of yourself. Go to manscaped.com and put in SC Insider 100 to get your 20% off and free shipping. All right, now let's move on. Now my team, let's have a brief look at how I went last week. And it wasn't too bad, apart from the fact that I had a few very upsetting people. 2,242 is how I went last week. I did slide 204 places to 676 overall. As you can see, I am sitting pretty well, though. I've got 20 trades up my sleeve, and I've got a fairly close to a full side. Now, I've gone a little bit different as far as strategy. Chris has been going extremely aggressive, which is interesting to watch because he's been moving and trading some, premiums that I've sort of held a little bit of, and loose-term premiums, obviously. But and he's made some aggressive moves, and it's been really interesting to see how he has played his game. With mine, I've been going a little bit more conservative and trying to kind of upgrade, as I keep saying each week, I'm trying to get those rookies off field, and then I'll deal with those premiums that aren't as good. The only catch that is doing that sometimes is that those premiums you're holding drop a little bit. The premiums you'd like to get have maybe gone up, and then realistically it's a bit of a scenario where sometimes it's good to be like Chris, sometimes it's good to be like me, and sometimes it's good to kind of chop and choose between the two. So that's kind of just how I'm feeling with this year, to be honest. So when we have a look now, when we go into my team, now I'm not quite sure on what I'd like to do. Let me fix this because it's annoying. And I wish the app would actually have like a nice little scroll function that doesn't scroll the whole bloody thing. Would be nice. Okay, so now here are my thoughts, because Nick Martin was going to go from my side this week. I was going to put McCartan into the forward line. I was going to use a few trades, and I was even considering getting rid of Rioli just because he hurt me so much last week. All I know for sure is that I need to get in Clark. All I know for sure is that I am hell-bent on heaven and earth to get Rory Laird into my side. Now, Clark is a must-given. He's going to go up maybe 80 to 100 or 80,000 this week, hopefully, if he goes well. Laird is an interesting one for me because I've got Petrarca. I thought that was a good in last week, so I did get Petrarca, which got me 136. I thought he was due for a good game against a weak opponent. And so Rory Laird, now where that comes into it, they have a soft draw coming up. He was absolutely killing it, extremely consistent, and I also feel that there's a lot of the teams, a lot of the top teams that had Steele are now rediverting those funds to get Laird. So I am wanting to get on board. Last time I checked, I think it was like 1,500 people bringing him in, and I imagine quite a lot of those are good sides. We're talking about top 1,000, top 5,000 of players going, right, Rory Laird. If you're outside of that top 5,000, I can see a lot of people going for the value and going, I'll go Petrarca, or more importantly, some of them going, I'm going to go Bailey Smith, because they're hoping he'll get DPP in 2 weeks' time, and then they'll try and make their move that way. So if you're outside the sort of top 5,000, then I can't see them trying to go for the best premium. They might try and use those funds to try and get someone better and then be able to redivert from there. So I'm really wanting Rory Laird. I can't help it. And the problem is, it kind of goes against the logic for this week because if I have, say, even if I go Whitfield down to, because I'm going to want him anyway. So let's go here. We'll go Whitfield to Clark because I'm needing Clark. Whitfield can get out of my side. I've been looking for an excuse, and thank you very much. You've given me an excuse. The other option is that I was going to have to prematurely cut somebody like a Roses or a Rioli just to get in Clark. If I wanted to kind of go about the way I wanted to play it this week. So that's sort of where we're at. The issue I've been having I've got a Driscoll in the defensive line. Now, realistically, Whitfield was going to go from midfield to defence, and I was going to then, I had Paddy McCartan and De Koning on that bench, which wouldn't have been good. I could still sort of do it that way, but I was looking to get rid of Martin. I need to get rid of some of my round 12 players because I think I had 8 or 9, which is ridiculous, and that's just the way things have shifted. Martin was going to go from that side already anyway. Whitfield was already planning to go from my side around that bye. And we'll see how we go there. So the issue I have is that O'Driscoll, I need to get a defender in. And that's kind of painful because there's only 2, and that's going to be a lot of the dilemma that I think a lot of people have this week. So here's a good thing if I do it this way. And this is probably the most logistical way, which probably makes sense and the way I should actually do it. The midfield still has some pretty good rookies. I mean, Hobbs is doing pretty well. I'm glad I got him in the end after his really horrible, I think it was his 3rd round. And I was like, why did I get him? Why did I feel forced to get him from Roses? Next minute, he's pulled out a couple of really good scores. He's got a good break even. And, sorry, a bit of stuff going on in the background. Now, the most interesting way I could do this is I could use Hamilton as a loophole, and I could have a look. So let's just go back through my team. So I should be able to loop Hobbs into Clark, and that would probably be the most logistical thing that I could think of, and take the best score from that. So Hobbs plays, I think it was on the night time, so Saturday night. GWS plays Sunday first up, and Eagles play Giants there. Anyway, so that's what I was considering. That's probably the smartest option that I can do this week is going Hobbs as an emergency. If he does well and goes 75 to 100, then bang, all of a sudden, I can go Hamilton, who's not playing, not even in the emergency, which is another pain in the ass. I actually tweeted him, like, can we bring back Leon? Like, at least with Leon, we know Hamilton's playing. At least with Leon, we know Whitfield's probably playing through an injury. So really painful. So Hamilton did really well. I can't see why he got dropped. Maybe, I think he was cramping up at the end of the game, so maybe they're just resting him and put him as an omitted. I'm not too sure. Typical GWS all around. Whitfield's probably been carrying an ankle for 10 weeks and now is finally getting rested or hurting. Hamilton, they just said omitted, so it's typical GWS, and they do not announce anything to do with their injuries because they are the worst football club in the history of AFL. So that's sort of where we're at. This probably makes the most sense, but I still want Laird, and it's I have 342,000, so I can go O'Driscoll, and I could go straight up to Sicily. You know how I feel about that. I don't want to pay $600,000 for a guy I could have got for 450 or even 500,000, so I'm kind of looking at passing on that. But the issue is that I can't get another round 13 player, I don't think, except for maybe Laird, and even then 600,000 for Sicily or 640,000 for Laird. I know who's going to average more for the rest of the year, so I'd rather pay up for Laird. It just seems like a waste. I already paid up for Stewart, so I'd take Stewart over Laird, in my opinion. So yeah, I've got McCartan who can play here. What I'm thinking is it's tossing up between Cleary and Buku. Now, having a look at them, Buku kicked 3 goals, still scored okay, right? Gold Coast have some pretty good tall timber. West Coast have some pretty good tall timber, so Chris alluded to that fact. Also, the big issue for me is that Buku only played like 67% time on ground as a forward. As a key forward, you know, like playing forward pocket or whatever as a key forward, so second sort of tall. And he only played 67% time on ground, so that already limits his impact. He had 10 disposals, kicked 3 goals, and that's how he scored. So Cleary played 81% time on ground, so he is where I'd be shifting towards. Again, I don't like trading in people early. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. I also don't have a loophole except for the fact that I do this week with Hamilton, so that's kind of good news. Coming out of the buys, I want a loophole. Probably a forward mid loophole so I can try and be able to switch in Ideally, I'd be pushing like a Cornelio or someone to the bench, someone who might be able to do well enough and really go strong once I know those round 12 bye players. Now, next week, things could get interesting if there's a Bailey Smith that's looking like he's still at that 38% forward mark. He would be definitely a good inclusion with a week to go. I'm probably holding off until I know for sure. Round 12, I might even move one of these, depending if I have 18 and the rest of it and how those 18 are going, I could definitely be swayed into moving on a Butters or a Cornelio, etc. Martin will probably go from my side in the next week or so anyway. Ideally, Martin would probably be the one. Round 12, I'll just go straight to a Bontempelli or straight to a Smith or whoever's there, or a Boak. Ideally, it'd be Boak. He could have 2 real big price drops after his crappy score last week, so that could be interesting. And I'll look at using that money aggressively and trying to come out of that bye round with some of the best scoring forwards possible. And I'd rather wait, and I think this is a really bad time to try and upgrade a forward, which is why I've been kind of holding off. Now, if McCartan in the forward line or a rookie in the forward line that scores well, I can handle that. Trading a Martin, a Cornelio to just someone else like a Liberatore, it's okay, right? But before 2 weeks ago, Cornelio was averaging 98 and a half. So I know he copped a bit of a knee in the back, so he's a bit sore that last week. He's lined up, I think, in the middle of the field this week. They have a soft draw coming up, I think, North and West Coast over 2 out of the next 3 weeks. And they're kind of games where Cornelio can score well. So I know people are talking about, he can lose cash and the rest of it. But if he scores well for a few weeks, he stabilizes his price anyway. I don't mind him sort of as a bit of a loophole player, or Butters as a loophole player. And yeah, I mean, I think people are just kind of being a little bit trigger happy. So that's where it's at. 37, it's a bad score. You've already got that bad score. He has been banging out a lot of 90s in towards the 100s, so I think he's been pretty consistent otherwise. GWS hopefully play a bit better in general and win some more games of those soft games so they get more chunk of the pie. So I'm looking at kind of holding these players. So that's where I'm at. Cleary would probably be the one for me. I am considering going O'Driscoll to Cleary, which is just because I don't really have that much faith in Buku. But he does look good. I'm just thinking about perspectives. Worst case scenario, Cleary doesn't play and I get a loophole player anyway, which I was sort of looking at in general. But then I have 520,000. Now, this is where the interesting part comes in. So I could trade any one of these other bench players to get in lead, but then that means playing Clark off the bench. Hamilton, I still think, has better job scoring potential. Roses is the interesting one because I was looking at getting rid of him. But they also play Hawthorn and North Melbourne the next 2 weeks after this week. I think he also keeps his spot because he might not have been playing the best earlier, but he's still got a game. So if he kicks some goals in a winning side, playing forward against North Melbourne and Hawthorn, he could actually really go up in price. And he's only sitting at 200, so it's a bit premature. But again, it's that I want lead, which is pretty much where I'm at. And it's kind of... do I cut someone just to make it happen? And it doesn't make sense. I'm probably best to even hold off or just trade out this week and not even upgrade per se. That is another option. I could just loophole Whitfield, keep him a week. Next week he'll be there and maybe he goes okay for the next couple and then I can look at moving him on or using him as a loophole player. But it just feels like a bit of a shame with my strategy. And for those of you that have followed me most of this time is that if I have a premium injured, most of the time I've been trying to upgrade around them. So upgrade to get another premium to then balance out the one that I've just lost for that week. And then that way next week I'll have 2 more premiums than I had the week before. Now, but with Whitfield, it's kind of, I just want to get him gone. But in order to free up the money, I need to get some cash. Now, in a perfect world, if Clark wasn't there, then I would have just gone with Nod down to Cleary and gone Whitfield up to Laird. That would have worked. But I'm in this situation where I also need Clark. So I've got McComb, I've got Hobbs, and if I have Clark, then those 3 can be on the bench. But then I've got Rioli, Roses, and Hamilton kind of clogging up that forward/one last mid spot. And that's the dilemma. And that's what I've been stuck with for the last sort of, 12 hours since teams have been named. I'm not too sure which way I'm going to go. I could easily dump Roses. I could easily dump Rioli. Here's the first buy anyway. So it could be like, hey, I'll just burn that trade. Forget I even got Rioli. Get in Laird. I'll have Roses, Hamilton on the forward line. I'll have Hobbs, McComb, and Clark on the bench. And everything looks strong and solid again. but it's not the smartest move. And I know it's not the smartest move, but Rioli has a break even at 20. That 7's going to be in his cycle until after his bye. By that point, I'm not going to need his money because he's not going to have really made me money. I'm not going to really want his score on field. Oh, I might not want his score on field for those next couple. So I'd have to hold him through all of the buys. And then after the buys, my team will be full. So I don't really need his cash anyway because my team will be full. And then he'll just be this bench player that is there but not there. So that's the logistics. I think Roses probably plays. I need that first buy round player because we already exposed the fact that I'm probably weak in that area. I think Roses plays and they play North Melbourne, so he could go well, which could help my scoring overall. That's the same logistics with Rao. I have considered moving Rao and getting Rao into lead, and I could still have $300,000 next week to make that move, which is another option. I don't know, Rao's not a premium, but he also has a high ceiling, and I think having Hawthorn next week where, Mills went 200, and then North Melbourne, who I think he'll be able to beat up anyway, because it seems Rao has been, even round 1 West Coast, weak side, Rao just beat him up and had like a best on ground performance. It would not surprise me. My gut feeling says that against Hawthorn and against North Melbourne in that first bye round, I think Rao scores better than most premiums in that first bye round, round 12, which is why I'm kind of holding him. But again, at the end of the day, it goes back to the whole logistics. So Clark, I could still loophole Clark with Hamilton. Rao could get out of my side. It probably does make sense because I can then just focus on the fact that I'm getting the guy I want as far as my premium, and I'm not keeping Rao anyway. So Rao was always going to go in my side anyway, so then that probably just makes sense as far as I've still got 327,000, so that way I can bank that cash. There's no real rookies coming up on the horizon, which is probably the perfect benefit of keeping some money, because once that round 12 buy hits, I'm wanting those premiums, as we said, that have the new DPP, and trying to attack that quite aggressively. So in the end, what I'm looking at doing is Real up to, say, lead. I can live with that. This probably makes the most sense. I can now loop Hobbs into Clark using Hamilton. Roses and Rioli can just sit on the pine. Roses hopefully plays through the first bye, which is what I need him for. Martin, Cornelio survive at this point in time. And I think that makes sense. So that way I am playing and keeping 327,000. Again, the other option is I go Rioli out. Keep, let me go undo this change. Where are we? So upgrade this one and I get rid of, so I switch, why can't I switch Hamilton? That's stupid. Okay, well, you get the point. So Hamilton, all right, let's hit cancel and do this one again. Okay, so pretty much the other option would be is that if I get rid of Hamilton, so this is what I was sort of looking at. So I keep Hamilton, get rid of Rioli, would be the other option. So it would be Rioli out, O'Driscoll out. And again, this isn't the smartest move, but I think it might get me more points on field, which is pretty much what I'm about at this point in time. Again, I'm not sold on the fact that I'd be going Cleary early. I get that. And let's go with here. Let's go with Clark, who I need, and then still being able to get my boy Laird to dominate. All right, so that is the other option I'm looking at. When we have a look at my team, as far as on-field rookies, then pretty much it's only McCartan, and I'm happy with Martin to sit there. This is probably the strongest playing squad that I could have for the week. I hate this app. There we go. All right. So that's probably the strongest starting field I can have this week. I know this is a longer team podcast than I normally do, and I'm hoping I can explain the thought processes in between the pros and benefits of each way that you could go this week. As far as overall, me playing Real, me playing, getting led, playing McCartan on field. McCartan's my only rookie, so this is probably the strongest I could have for the week. However, I then have to try and make multiple downgrades in order to get a player up in the future. So it'd be 1 down, 1 up on Rao, 1 down, 1 up on McCartan. Team full essentially, and 1 down, 1 up on Martin. So I'm looking at 6 trades left, realistically. So 1 down, 1 up on to McCartan to get a premium. So it'd be like De Koning down, someone up, McCartan to a premium in that round 12 buy. Perfect. So I'm probably looking at one of those first buy round players if I can. And the other one would be, by that point, it'll be Hayes down and Rail up to a premium. And then it would be, say, a Hobbs or a Roses down, Martin up. And then that's where I'm sitting. I'd still have 11 trades left. I could still then do some luxuries. I could still go like Macomb down and Butters up or do something like that. Or I could do multiple down and get an extra premium, push, say, Cornelio or something to the bench, use that loophole to go from forward to mid to give him some cover for each side. So that way, if someone misses just a week with COVID or something, then bang, I've got a player that can sort of rotate through. If it's a premium, then it's just use one of those 6 to 8 trades that I'll have left, hopefully at that point, to actually just replace them. And that's sort of where I'm at. So I'd be using those trades for a long-term injury. If it's a short-term one, like a 1 or 2 weeker, then I could use that swing player in my forward and midfield line to kind of cover up. And that's sort of where I'm looking at. Let me know which way you think, because you could actually help sway me this week. I'm not even kidding you. You need to let me know what you think and help sway me on which, out of all of the different things I showed you today, what do you like best? Help me out. Talk to you soon. Remember, SC Insider 100, go to manscaped.com, get your 20% off and support us and support the people that support us. That's it. We'll talk to you soon. Break a leg this week, everyone, and do well. You're going to need it. Bye.